हेलो एवरीवन, वेलकम बैक टू माय चैनल। तो आज के वीडियो में हम शुरू करने वाले हैं एनसीईआरटी क्लास 9 का ज्योग्राफी, जिसमें आज हम देखेंगे चैप्टर 1 जो कि है इंडिया साइज एंड लोकेशन। तो शुरू करते हैं हमारा आज का चैप्टर। इंडिया इज़ वन ऑफ द एंशिएंट सिविलाइजेशन इन द वर्ल्ड. It has achieved multifaceted socio-economic progress. During the last 5 decades, it has moved forward, displaying remarkable progress in the field of agriculture, industry, technology, and overall economic development. India has also contributed significantly to the making of world history. Location: India is a vast country lying entirely in the northern hemisphere. The mainland extends between latitudes 8 degrees 4 minutes north and 37 degrees 6 minutes north, and longitudes 68 degrees 7 minutes east and 97 degrees 25 minutes east. The Tropic of Cancer, 23 degrees 30 minutes north, divides the country into almost two equal parts. To the southeast and southwest of the mainland lie the Andaman and Nicobar Islands and the Lakshadweep Islands in Bay of Bengal and Arabian Sea, respectively. Find out the extent of these groups of islands from your atlas. Do you know the southernmost point of the Indian Union, Indira Point, got submerged under the sea water in 2004 during the tsunami? Size: the landmass of India has an area of 3.28 million square kilometer. India's total area accounts for about 2.4% of the total geographical area of the world. From figure 1.2, it is clear that India is the seventh largest country of the world. India has a land boundary of about 15,200 km and total length of the coastline of the mainland, including Andaman and Nicobar and Lakshadweep, is 7,516.6 km. India is bounded by the Yangfold Mountains in the northwest, north, and northeast. South of about 22 degrees north latitude, it begins to taper and extends towards the Indian Ocean, dividing it into two seas, the Arabian Sea on the west and the Bay of Bengal on its east. Look at figure 1.3 and note that the latitudinal and longitudinal extent of the mainland is about 30 degrees. Despite this fact, the east-west extent appears to be smaller than the north-south extent. From Gujarat to Arunachal Pradesh, there is a time lag of 2 hours. Hence, time along the standard meridian of India, 82 degrees 30 minutes east, passing through Mirzapur in Uttar Pradesh, is taken as the standard time for the whole country. The latitudinal extent influences the duration of day and night as one moves from south to north. India and the world. The Indian landmass has a central location between the East and the West Asia. India is a southward extension of the Asian continent. The Trans-Indian Ocean routes, which connect the countries of Europe in the west and the countries of East Asia, provide a strategic central location to India. Note that the Deccan Peninsula protrudes into the Indian Ocean, thus helping India to establish close contact with West Asia, Africa, and Europe from the western coast, and with Southeast and East Asia from the eastern coast. No other country has a long coastline on the Indian Ocean as India has, and indeed, it is India's eminent position in the Indian Ocean which justifies the naming of an ocean after it. Do you know, since the opening of the Suez Canal in 1869, India's distance from Europe has been reduced by 7,000 km. India's contacts with the world have continued through ages, but her relationship through the land routes are much older than her maritime contacts. The various passes across the mountains in the north have provided passages to the ancient travelers, while the oceans restricted such interaction for a long time. These routes have contributed in the exchange of ideas and commodities since ancient times. The ideas of Upanishads and the Ramayana, the stories of Panchatantra, the Indian numerals, and the decimal system thus could reach many parts of the world. The spices, muslin, and other merchandise were taken from India to different countries. On the other hand, the influence of Greek sculpture and the architectural styles of dome and minarets from West Asia can be seen in different parts of our country. India's neighbor. India occupies an important strategic position in South Asia. India has 28 states and 9 union territories. India shares its land boundaries with Pakistan and Afghanistan in the northwest, China or Tibet, Nepal and Bhutan in the north, and Myanmar and Bangladesh in the east. Our southern neighbors across the sea consist of two island countries, namely Sri Lanka and Maldives. Sri Lanka is separated from India by a narrow channel of sea formed by the Palk Strait and the Gulf of Mannar, while Maldives Islands are situated to the south of the Lakshadweep Islands. Do you know, before 1947 there were two types of states in India, the provinces and the princely states. Provinces were ruled directly by British officials who were appointed by the Viceroy. Princely states were ruled by local hereditary rulers who acknowledged sovereignty in return for local autonomy. India has strong geographical and historical links with her neighbors. Look at the physical map of Asia in your atlas and note how India stands apart from the rest of Asia. Do you know School Bhuvan is a portal providing map-based learning to bring awareness among the students about the country's natural resources, environment and their role in sustainable development. It is an initiative of Bhuvan, NRSC or ISRO based on NCERT syllabus. तो यह है इस चैप्टर का एक्सरसाइज। तो क्योंकि ये एक छोटा सा चैप्टर था तो ये कंप्लीट हो चुका है, इसलिए अब हम शुरू करेंगे चैप्टर 2 जो कि है फिजिकल फीचर्स ऑफ इंडिया। तो शुरू करते हैं हमारा आज का चैप्टर। यू हैव ऑलरेडी लर्नड अर्लियर दैट इंडिया इज़ अ वास्ट कंट्री विद वेराइड लैंड फॉर्म्स. What kind of terrain do you live in? If you live in the plains, you are familiar with the vast stretches of plain land. In contrast, if you live in hilly region, the rugged terrain with mountains and valleys are common features. In fact, our country has practically all major physical features of the earth. That means mountains, plains, deserts, plateaus, and islands. The land of India displays great physical variation. Geologically, the peninsular plateau constitutes one of the ancient landmasses on the Earth's surface. It was supposed to be one of the most stable land blocks. The Himalayas and the northern plains are the most recent landforms. From the viewpoint of geology, Himalayan mountains form an unstable zone. The whole mountain system of Himalaya represents a very youthful topography with high peaks, deep valleys, and fast-flowing rivers. The northern plains are formed of alluvial deposits. The peninsular plateau is composed of igneous and metamorphic rocks with gently rising hills and wide valleys. Major physiographic divisions. The physical feature of India can be grouped under the following physiographic divisions. First, the Himalayan mountains, the northern plains, the peninsular plateau, the Indian desert, the coastal plains, and the islands. The Himalayan mountains. The Himalayas, geologically young and structurally fold mountains, stretch over the northern borders of India. These mountain ranges run in a west-east direction from the Indus to the Brahmaputra. The Himalayas represent the loftiest and one of the most rugged mountain barriers of the world. They form an arc which covers a distance of about 2,400 km. Their width varies from 400 km in Kashmir to 150 km in Arunachal Pradesh. The altitudinal variations are greater in the eastern half than those in the western half. The Himalaya consists of 3 parallel ranges in its longitudinal extent. A number of valleys lies between these ranges. The northernmost range is known as the Great or Inner Himalaya or the Himadri. It is the most continuous range consisting of the loftiest peaks with an average height of 6,000 meters. It contains all prominent Himalayan peaks. The folds of the Great Himalayas are asymmetrical in nature. The core of this part of Himalayas is composed of granite. It is perennially snowbound and a number of glaciers descend from this range. The range lying to the south of the Himadri forms the most rugged mountain system and is known as Himachal or Lesser Himalaya. The ranges are mainly composed of highly compressed and altered rocks. The altitude varies between 3,700 and 4,500 meters and the average width is of 50 km. While the Pir Panjal range forms the longest and the most important range, the Dholadhar and the Mahabharat ranges are also prominent ones. This range consists of famous valley of Kashmir, the Kangra and the Kullu valley in Himachal Pradesh. This region is well known for its hill stations. The outermost range of the Himalayas is called the Shivaliks. They extend over a width of 10 to 50 km and have an altitude varying between 900 and 1100 meters. These ranges are composed of unconsolidated sediments brought down by rivers from the main Himalayan ranges located further north. These valleys are covered with thick gravel and alluvium. The longitudinal valley lying between Lesser Himalayas and the Shivaliks are known as dunes. Dehradun, Kotli Dune and Patli Dune are some of the well-known dunes. Beside the longitudinal divisions, the Himalayas have been divided on the basis of regions from west to east. These divisions have been demarcated by river valleys. For example, the part of Himalayas lying between Indus and Satluj has been traditionally known as Punjab Himalaya, but it is also known regionally as Kashmir and Himachal Himalaya from west to east respectively. The part of the Himalayas lying between Satluj and Kali rivers is known as Kumaon Himalayas. The Kali and Tista rivers demarcate the Nepal Himalayas, and the part lying between Tista and Dihang rivers is known as Assam Himalayas. There are regional names also in these broad categories. Find out some regional names of the Himalayas. The Brahmaputra marks the easternmost boundary of the Himalayas. Beyond the Dihang Gorge, the Himalayas bend sharply to the south and spread along the eastern boundary of India. They are known as the Purvachal or the Eastern Himalayas and mountains. These hills running through the northeastern states are mostly composed of strong sandstones, which are sedimentary rocks. Covered with dense forests, they mostly run as parallel ranges and valleys. The Purvachal comprises the Patkai Hills, the Naga Hills, the Manipur Hills, and the Mizo Hills. The Northern Plains. The Northern Plain has been formed by the interplay of the three major river systems, namely the Indus, the Ganga, and the Brahmaputra, along with their tributaries. This plain is formed of alluvial soil. The deposition of alluvium in a vast basin lying at the foothills of the Himalaya over millions of years formed this fertile plain. It spreads over an area of 7 lakh square kilometers. The plain being about 2,400 km long and 240 to 320 km broad is a densely populated physiographic division. With a rich soil cover combined with adequate water supply and favorable climate, it is agriculturally a productive part of India. The rivers coming from northern mountains are involved in depositional work. In the lower course, due to a gentle slope, the velocity of the river decreases, which results in the formation of riverine islands. Do you know Majuli in the Brahmaputra river is the largest inhabited riverine island in the world? The rivers in the lower course split into numerous channels due to the deposition of silt. These channels are known as distributaries. The northern plain is broadly divided into three sections. The western part of the northern plain is referred to as the Punjab Plains, formed by the Indus and its tributaries. The larger part of this plain lies in Pakistan. The Indus and its tributaries, the Jhelum, the Chenab, the Ravi, the Beas, and the Satluj, originate in the Himalaya. This section of the plain is dominated by the Doabs. Do you know Doab is made up of two words, Do meaning two and Ab meaning water. Similarly, Punjab is also made up of two words, Panj meaning five and Ab meaning water. The Ganga plain extends between Ghagar and Tista rivers. It is spread over the states of North India, Haryana, Delhi, UP, Bihar, partly Jharkhand and West Bengal to its east. Particularly in Assam lies the Brahmaputra plain. The northern plains are generally described as flat land with no variations in its relief. It is not true. These vast plains also have diverse relief features. According to the variation in relief features, the northern plains can be divided into four regions. The rivers, after descending from the mountains, deposit pebbles in a narrow belt of about 8 to 16 km in width, lying parallel to the slopes of the Sibalics. It is known as Bhabar. All the streams disappear in this Bhabar belt. South of this belt, the streams and rivers re-emerge and create a wet, swampy, and marshy region known as Terai. This was a thickly forested region full of wildlife. The forests have been cleared to create agricultural land and to settle migrants from Pakistan after partition. Locate Dulfa National Park in this region. The largest part of the northern plain is formed of older alluvium. It lies above the floodplains of the rivers and presents a terrace-like feature. This part is known as Bhangar. The soil in this region contains calcareous deposits, locally known as Kankar. The newer, younger deposits of the floodplains are called Khadar. They are renewed almost every year and so are fertile, thus ideal for intensive agriculture. The Peninsular Plateau. The Peninsular Plateau is a tableland composed of the old crystalline, igneous, and metamorphic rocks. It was formed due to the breaking and drifting of the Gondwana land and thus making it a part of the oldest landmass. The plateau has broad and shallow valleys and rounded hills. This plateau consists of two broad divisions, namely the Central Highlands and the Deccan Plateau. The part of the Peninsular Plateau lying to the north of the Narmada River, covering a major area of the Malwa Plateau, is known as the Central Highlands. The Vindhyan Range is bounded by the Satpura Range on the south and the Aravallis on the northwest. The further westward extension gradually merges with the sandy and rocky desert of Rajasthan. The flow of the rivers draining this region, namely the Jambal, the Sindh, the Betwa, and the Ken, is from southwest to northeast, thus indicating the slope. The Central Highlands are wider in the west but narrower in the east. The eastward extension of this plateau are locally known as the Bundelkhand and Bagelkhand. The Chota Nagpur Plateau marks the further eastward extension drained by the Damodar River. The Deccan Plateau is a triangular landmass that lies to the south of the river Narmada. The Satpura Range flanks its broad base in the north, while the Mahadev, the Kaimur Hills, and the Maikal Range form its eastern extensions. Locate these hills and ranges in the physical map of India. The Deccan Plateau is higher in the west and slopes gently eastward. An extension of the plateau is also visible in the northeast, locally known as the Meghalaya Karbi Anglong Plateau and North Kachar Hills. It is separated by a fault from the Chota Nagpur Plateau. Three prominent hill ranges from the west to east are the Garo, the Khasi, and the Jaintia Hills. The Western Ghats and the Eastern Ghats mark the western and the eastern edges of the Deccan Plateau respectively. Western Ghats lie parallel to the western coast. They are continuous and can be crossed through passes only. Locate the Thai, Bhor, and Pal Ghats in the physical map of India. The Western Ghats are higher than Eastern Ghats. Their average elevation is 900 to 1600 meters as against 600 meters of the Eastern Ghats. The Eastern Ghats stretch from the Mahanadi Valley to the Nilgiris in the south. The Eastern Ghats are discontinuous and irregular and dissected by rivers draining into the Bay of Bengal. The Western Ghats cause orographic rain by facing the rain-bearing moist winds to rise along the western slopes of the Ghats. The Western Ghats are known by different local names. The height of the Western Ghats progressively increases from north to south. The highest peaks include the Anaimudi 2695 meters and the Doda Beta 2637 meters. Mahendragiri 1500 meters is the highest peak in the Eastern Ghats. Sebroi Hills and the Javedi Hills are located on the southeast of the Eastern Ghats. Locate the famous hill station of Udagamandalam, popularly known as Uti and Kodaikanal. One of the distinct features of the Peninsular Plateau is the black soil area, known as Deccan Trough. This is of volcanic origin, hence the rocks are igneous. Actually, these rocks have denuded over time and are responsible for the formation of black soil. The Aravalli Hills lie on the western and northwestern margins of the peninsular plateau. These are highly eroded hills and are found as broken hills. They extend from Gujarat to Delhi in a southwest northeast direction. The Indian Desert. The Indian Desert lies towards the western margins of the Aravalli Hills. It is an undulating sandy plain covered with sand dunes. This region receives very low rainfall below 150 mm per year. It has arid climate with low vegetation cover. Streams appear during the rainy season. Soon after they disappear into the sand as they do not have enough water to reach the sea. Luni is the only large river in this region. Burkhan's crescent-shaped dunes cover the larger area, but longitudinal dunes become more prominent near the Indo-Pakistan boundary. If you visit Jaisalmer, you may go to see a group of birds. The coastal plains. The peninsular plateau is flanked by stretches of narrow coastal strips running along the Arabian Sea on the west and the Bay of Bengal on the east. The western coast, sandwiched between the Western Ghats and the Arabian Sea, is a narrow plain. It consists of three sections. The northern part of the coast is called the Konkan, Mumbai to Goa. The central stretch is called the Kannad Plain, while the southern stretch is referred to as the Malabar coast. The plains along the Bay of Bengal are wide and level. In the northern part, it is referred to as the northern Circle, while the southern part is known as the Coromandel coast. Large rivers such as the Mahanadi, the Godavari, the Krishna, and the Kaveri have formed extensive delta on this coast. Lake Chilika is an important feature along the eastern coast. Do you know the Chilika Lake is the largest saltwater lake in India? It lies in the state of Odisha to the south of the Mahanadi Delta. The islands. You have already seen that India has a vast mainland. Besides this, the country has two groups of islands. Can you identify these island groups? Look at the Lakshadweep Island group lying close to the Malabar coast of Kerala. This group of islands is composed of small coral islands. Earlier they were known as Laccadive, Minico, and Aminidive. In 1973, these were named as Lakshadweep. It covers a small area of 32 square kilometers. Kavaratti Island is the administrative headquarters of Lakshadweep. This island group has great diversity of flora and fauna. The Piti Island, which is uninhabited, has a bird sanctuary. Corals. Coral polyps are short-lived microscopic organisms which live in colonies. They flourish in shallow, mud-free and warm waters. They secrete calcium carbonate. The coral secretion and the skeletons form coral deposits in the form of reefs. They are mainly of three kinds: barrier reef, fringing reef, and atolls. The Great Barrier Reef of Australia is a good example of the first kind of coral reefs. Atolls are circular or horseshoe-shaped coral reefs. Now you see the elongated chain of islands located in the Bay of Bengal extending from north to south. These are Andaman and Nicobar Islands. They are bigger in size and are more numerous and scattered. The entire group of islands is divided into two broad categories: the Andaman in the north and the Nicobar in the south. It is believed that these islands are an elevated portion of submarine mountains. These island groups are of great strategic importance for the country. There is a great diversity of flora and fauna in this group of islands too. This island lie close to equator and experience equatorial climate and has thick forest cover. Do you know India's only active volcano is found on Barren Island in Andaman and Nicobar group of islands? A detailed account of the different physiographic units highlights the unique features of each range. It would, however, be clear that each region complements the other and makes the country richer in its natural resources. The mountains are the major sources of water and forest wealth. Now, the northern plains are the granaries of the country. They provide the base for early civilization. The plateau is a storehouse of minerals which has played a crucial role in the industrialization of the country. The coastal region and island groups provide sites for fishing and port activities. Thus, the diverse physical features of the land have immense future possibilities of development. तो ये है इसका एक्सरसाइज और इसी के साथ हमारा सेकेंड चैप्टर भी कंप्लीट हो चुका है। तो आज के वीडियो में हमने फर्स्ट और सेकेंड चैप्टर कंप्लीट कर लिया है। तो अगर आप चैनल पर नए हैं तो चैनल को सब्सक्राइब कर दीजिए और नोटिफिकेशन आइकन पर क्लिक कर दीजिए ताकि आपको सारे वीडियोस के अपडेट्स मिल सके। और अगर आपको वीडियो अच्छा लगे तो लाइक कर दीजिए, साथ ही अपने दोस्तों के साथ शेयर कीजिए ताकि उन्हें भी हेल्प हो सके। तो हमारा आज का वीडियो यहीं तक था। थैंक यू, थैंक्स फॉर वॉचिंग। हेलो एवरीवन, वेलकम बैक टू माय चैनल। तो आज की वीडियो में हम देखने वाले हैं एनसीईआरटी ज्योग्राफी क्लास 9, जिसमें आज हम देखेंगे चैप्टर 3 जो कि है ड्रेनेज। तो शुरू करते हैं हमारा आज का चैप्टर। द टर्म ड्रेनेज डिस्क्राइब्स द रिवर सिस्टम ऑफ एन एरिया। Look at the physical map. You will notice that small streams flowing from different directions come together to form the main river, which ultimately drains into a large water body such as a lake or a sea or an ocean. The area drained by a single river system is called a drainage basin. A closer observation on a map will indicate that any elevated area such as a mountain or an upland separates two drainage basins. Such an upland is known as a water divide. Do you know? The world's largest drainage basin is of the Amazon River. Drainage systems in India. The drainage system of India are mainly controlled by the broad relief features of the subcontinent. Accordingly, the Indian rivers are divided into two major groups, the Himalayan rivers and the peninsular rivers. Apart from originating from the two major physiographic regions of India, the Himalayan and the peninsular rivers are different from each other in many ways. Most of the Himalayan rivers are perennial. It means that they have water throughout the year. These rivers receive water from the rain as well as from melted snow from the lofty mountains. The two major Himalayan rivers, the Indus and the Brahmaputra, originate from the north of the mountain ranges. They have cut through the mountains, making gorges. The Himalayan rivers have long courses from their source to the sea. They perform intensive erosional activity in their upper courses and carry huge loads of silt and sand. In the middle and the lower courses, this river form meanders, oxbow lakes, and many other depositional features in their floodplains. They also have well-developed deltas. A large number of the peninsular rivers are seasonal as their flow is dependent on rainfall. During the dry season, even the large rivers have reduced flow of water in their channels. The peninsular rivers have shorter and shallower courses as compared to their Himalayan counterparts. However, some of them originate in the central highlands and flow towards the west. Can you identify two such large rivers? Most of the rivers of peninsular India originate in the western Ghats and flow towards the Bay of Bengal. The Himalayan rivers. The major Himalayan rivers are the Indus, the Ganga, and the Brahmaputra. These rivers are long and are joined by many large and important tributaries. A river along with its tributaries may be called a river system. The Indus River System. The river Indus rises in Tibet near Lake Mansarovar. Flowing west, it enters India in the Ladakh. It forms a picturesque gorge in this spot. Several tributaries, the Jaskar, the Nubra, the Sayok, and the Hunja, join it in the Kashmir region. The Indus flows through Baltistan and Gilgit and emerges from the mountains at Attock. The Satluj, the Bias, the Ravi, the Chenab, and the Jhelum join together to enter the Indus near Mithankot in Pakistan. Beyond this, the Indus flows southwards, eventually reaching the Arabian Sea east of Karachi. The Indus plain has a very gentle slope. With a total length of 2,900 km, the Indus is one of the longest rivers of the world. A little over a third of the Indus basin is located in India. Ladakh, Jammu and Kashmir, Himachal Pradesh, and Punjab, and the rest is in Pakistan. Do you know, according to the regulation of the Indus Water Treaty 1960, India can use only 20% of the total water carried by the Indus River system. This water is used for irrigation in Punjab, Haryana, and the southern and the western parts of Rajasthan. The Ganga River System. The headwaters of the Ganga, called the Bhagirathi, is fed by the Gangotri Glacier and joined by the Alaknanda at Devaprayag in Uttarakhand. At Haridwar, the Ganga emerges from the mountains onto the plains. The Ganga is joined by many tributaries from the Himalayas, a few of them being major rivers such as the Yamuna, the Ghagra, the Gandak, and the Kosi. The river Yamuna rises from the Yamunotri Glacier in the Himalayas. It flows parallel to the Ganga and as a right bank tributary meets the Ganga at Allahabad. The Ghagra, the Gandak, and the Kosi rise in the Nepal Himalaya. They are the rivers which flood parts of the northern plains every year, causing widespread damage to life and property, whereas they enrich the soil for agricultural use. The main tributaries which come from the peninsular uplands are the Chambal, the Betwa, and the Son. These rise from semi-arid areas, have shorter courses, and do not carry much water in them. Find out where and how they ultimately join the Ganga. Do you know the Namami Gange program is an integrated conservation mission approved as a flagship program by the Union government in June 2014 to accomplish the twin objectives of effective abatement of pollution, conservation, and rejuvenation of the national river Ganga. Enlarged with the waters from its right and left bank tributaries, the Ganga flows eastwards till Farakka in West Bengal. This is the northernmost point of the Ganga Delta. The river bifurcates here. The Bhagirathi Hooghly, a distributary, flows southwards through the deltic plains to the Bay of Bengal. The main stream flows southwards into Bangladesh and is joined by the Brahmaputra. Further downstream, it is known as the Meghna, the mighty river with waters from the Ganga and the Brahmaputra. This mighty river with waters from the Ganga and the Brahmaputra flows into the Bay of Bengal. The delta formed by these rivers is known as the Sundarban Delta. Do you know the Sundarban Delta derived its name from the Sundari tree which grows well in marshland? It is the world's largest and fastest growing delta. It is also the home of Royal Bengal tigers. The length of the Ganga is over 2,500 km. Look at figure 3.4. Can you identify the type of drainage pattern formed by the Ganga river system? Ambala is located on the water divide between the Indus and the Ganga river systems. The plains from Ambala to the Sundarban stretch over nearly 1800 km, but the fall in its slope is hardly 300 meters. In other words, there is a fall of just 1 meter for every 6 km. Therefore, the river develops large meanders. The Brahmaputra river system. The Brahmaputra rises in Tibet east of Mansarovar Lake, very close to the sources of the Indus and the Satluj. It is slightly longer than the Indus and most of its course lies outside India. It flows eastward parallel to the Himalayas. On reaching the Namcha Barwa, 7,757 meters, it takes a U-turn and enters India in Arunachal Pradesh through a gorge. Here it is called the Dihang and it is joined by the Dibang, the Lohit and many other tributaries to form the Brahmaputra in Assam. Do you know Brahmaputra is known as the Sangpo in Tibet and Jamuna in Bangladesh? In Tibet, the river carries a smaller volume of water and less silt as it is a cold and a dry area. In India, it passes through a region of high rainfall. Here, the river carries a large volume of water and considerable amount of silt. The Brahmaputra has a braided channel in its entire length in Assam and forms many riverine islands. Do you remember the name of the world's largest riverine island formed by the Brahmaputra? Every year during the rainy season, the river overflows its banks, causing widespread devastation due to floods in Assam and Bangladesh. Unlike other North Indian rivers, the Brahmaputra is marked by huge deposits of silt on its bed, causing the riverbed to rise. The river also shifts its channel frequently. The Peninsular River. The main water divide in peninsular India is formed by the Western Ghats, which runs from north to south close to the western coast. Most of the major rivers of the peninsula, such as the Mahanadi, the Godavari, the Krishna, and the Kaveri, flow eastwards and drain into the Bay of Bengal. These rivers make deltas at their mouths. There are numerous small streams flowing west of the Western Ghats. The Narmada and the Tapi are the only long rivers which flow west and make estuaries. The drainage basin of the peninsular rivers are comparatively smaller in size. The Narmada Basin. The Narmada rises in the Amarkantak Hills in Madhya Pradesh. It flows towards the west in a rift valley formed due to faulting. On its way to sea, the Narmada creates many picturesque locations. The Marble Rocks near Jabalpur, where the Narmada flows through a deep gorge, and the Dhuadar Falls, where the river plunges over steep rocks, are some of the notable ones. Do you know the Narmada River Conservation Mission has been undertaken by the government of Madhya Pradesh by a scheme named Namami Devi Narmade. All tributaries of the Narmada are very short and most of these join the main stream at right angles. The Narmada Basin covers parts of Madhya Pradesh and Gujarat. The Tapi Basin. The Tapi rises in the Satpura ranges in the Betul district of Madhya Pradesh. It also flows in a rift valley parallel to the Narmada, but it is much shorter in length. Its basin covers parts of Madhya Pradesh, Gujarat, and Maharashtra. The coastal plains between Western Ghats and the Arabian Sea are very narrow. Hence, the coastal rivers are short. The main west-flowing rivers are Sabarmati, Mahi, Bharatpuzha, and Periyar. Find out the states in which this river drain the water. The Godavari Basin. The Godavari is the largest peninsular river. It rises from the slopes of the Western Ghats in the Nasik district of Maharashtra. Its length is about 1500 km. It drains into the Bay of Bengal. Its drainage basin is also the largest among the peninsular rivers. The basin covers part of Maharashtra. About 50% of the basin area lies in Maharashtra, Madhya Pradesh, Odisha, and Andhra Pradesh. The Godavari is joined by a number of tributaries such as the Purna, the Vardha, the Pranhita, the Manjra, the Venganga, and the Penganga. The last three tributaries are very large because of its length and the area it covers. It is also known as the Dakshin Ganga. The Mahanadi Basin. The Mahanadi rises in the highlands of Chhattisgarh. It flows through Odisha to reach the Bay of Bengal. The length of the river is about 860 km. Its drainage basin is shared by Maharashtra, Chhattisgarh, Jharkhand, and Odisha. The Krishna Basin. Rising from a spring near Mahabaleshwar, the Krishna flows for about 1400 km and reaches the Bay of Bengal. The Tungabhadra, the Koyana, the Ghatprabha, the Musi, and the Bhima are some of its tributaries. Its drainage basin is shared by Maharashtra, Karnataka, and Andhra Pradesh. The Kaveri Basin. The Kaveri rises in the Brahmagiri range of the Western Ghats and it reaches the Bay of Bengal in south of Cuddalore in Tamil Nadu. The total length of the river is about 760 km. Its main tributaries are Amravati, Bhavani, Hemavati, the Kavini, and its basin drains parts of Karnataka, Kerala, and Tamil Nadu. Do you know the river Kaveri makes the second biggest waterfall in India, known as Sivasamudram Falls? The hydroelectric power generated from the falls is supplied to Mysuru, Bengaluru, and the Kolar goldfield. Besides these major rivers, there are some smaller rivers flowing towards the east. The Damodar, the Brahmani, the Baitarni, and the Suvarna Rekha are some notable examples. Locate them in your atlas. 71% of the world's surface is covered with water, but 97% of that is salt water. Of the 3% that is available as fresh water, 3/4 of it is trapped as ice. Lakes. You may be familiar with the Valley of Kashmir and the famous Dal Lake, the houseboats and shikaras, which attract thousands of tourists every year. Similarly, you may have visited some other tourist spots near a lake and enjoyed boating, swimming, and other water games. Imagine that if Srinagar, Nainital, and other tourist places did not have a lake, would they have been as attractive as they are today? Have you ever tried to know the importance of lakes in making a place attractive to tourists? Apart from attraction for tourists, lakes are also useful to human beings in many ways. India has many lakes. These differ from each other in size and other characteristics. Most lakes are permanent. Some contain water only during the rainy season, like the lakes in the basins of inland drainage of semi-arid regions. There are some lakes which are the result of the action of glacier and ice sheets, while others have been formed by wind river action and human activities. A meandering river across a floodplain forms cutoffs that later develops into oxbow lakes. Spits and bars form lagoons in the coastal areas. Example: the Chilika Lake, the Pulket Lake, and the Koleru Lake. Lakes in the region of inland drainage are sometimes seasonal. For example, the Sambar Lake in Rajasthan, which is a saltwater lake. Its water is used for producing salt. Most of the freshwater lakes are in the Himalayan region. They are of glacial origin. In other words, they formed when glaciers dug out a basin which was later filled with snowmelt. The Vuller Lake in Jammu and Kashmir, in contrast, is the result of tectonic activity. This is the largest freshwater lake in India. The Dal Lake, Bhimtal, Nainital, Loktak, and Barapani are some other important freshwater lakes. Apart from natural lakes, the damming of the rivers for generation of hydropower has also led to the formation of lakes, such as Guru Gobind Sagar Bhakra Nagal project. Lakes are of great value to human beings. A lake helps to regulate the flow of a river during heavy rains. It prevents flooding, and during the dry season, it helps to maintain an even flow of water. Lakes can also be used for developing hydropower. They moderate the climate of the surroundings, maintain the aquatic ecosystem, enhance natural beauty, help develop tourism, and provide recreation. Role of rivers in the economy. Rivers have been of fundamental importance throughout the human history. Water from rivers is a basic natural resource, essential for various human activities. Therefore, river banks have attracted settlers from ancient times. These settlements have now become big cities. Make a list of cities in your state which are located on the bank of a river. Using rivers for irrigation, navigation, hydropower generation is of special significance, particularly to a country like India, where agriculture is the major source of livelihood of the majority of its population. River pollution. The growing domestic, municipal, industrial, and agricultural demand for water from rivers naturally affects the quality of water. As a result, more and more is being drained out of the rivers, reducing their volume. On the other hand, a heavy load of untreated sewage and industrial effluents are emptied into the rivers. This affects not only the quality of water but also the self-cleansing capacity of the river. For example, given the adequate stream flow, the Ganga water is able to dilute and assimilate pollution loads within 20 km of large cities. But the increasing urbanization and industrialization do not allow it to happen, and the pollution level of many rivers has been rising. Concern over rising pollution in our rivers led to the launching of various action plans to clean the rivers. Have you heard about such action plans? How does our health get affected by polluted river water? Think about life of human beings without fresh water. Arrange a debate on this topic in the class. National River Conservation Plan (NRCP). The river cleaning program in the country was initiated with the launching of the Ganga Action Plan (GAP) in 1985. The Ganga Action Plan was expanded to cover other rivers under the National River Conservation Plan (NRCP) in the year 1995. The objective of the NRCP is to improve the water quality of the rivers, which are major water sources in the country, through the implementation of pollution abatement work. तो ये है इस चैप्टर का एक्सरसाइज। तो इसी के साथ हमारा आज का चैप्टर कंप्लीट होता है। तो अगर आप चैनल पे नए हैं तो चैनल को सब्सक्राइब कर दीजिए और नोटिफिकेशन आइकन पर क्लिक कर दीजिए ताकि आपको सारे वीडियो अपडेट्स मिल सके। और अगर आपको वीडियो अच्छा लगे तो लाइक कर दीजिए, साथ ही अपने दोस्तों के साथ शेयर कीजिए ताकि उन्हें भी हेल्प हो सके। तो हमारा आज का सेशन यहीं तक था। थैंक यू, थैंक्स फॉर वॉचिंग। हेलो एवरीवन, वेलकम बैक टू माय चैनल। तो आज के वीडियो में हम देखने वाले हैं एनसीईआरटी ज्योग्राफी क्लास 9, जिसमें आज हम देखेंगे चैप्टर 4 जो कि है क्लाइमेट। तो शुरू करते हैं हमारा आज का चैप्टर। In the last two chapters, you have read about the landforms and the drainage of our country. There are two of the three basic elements that one learns about the natural environment of any area. In this chapter, you will learn about the third, that is the atmospheric condition that prevail over our country. Why do we wear woolens in December, or why it is hot and uncomfortable in the month of May, and why it rains in June to July? The answers to all these questions can be found out by studying about the climate of India. Climate refers to the sum total of weather conditions and variations over a large area for a long period of time, more than 30 years. Weather refers to the state of the atmosphere over an area at any point of time. The elements of weather and climate are the same. That means temperature, atmospheric pressure, wind, humidity, and precipitation. You may have observed that the weather conditions fluctuate very often even within a day. But there is some common pattern over a few weeks or months. That means days are cool or hot, windy or calm, cloudy or bright, and wet or dry. On the basis of the generalized monthly atmospheric conditions, the year is divided into seasons such as winter, summer, or rainy seasons. The world is divided into a number of climatic regions. Do you know what type of climate India has and why it is so? We'll learn about it in this chapter. Do you know the word monsoon is derived from the Arabic word mosim, which literally means season. Monsoon refers to the seasonal reversal in the wind direction during a year. The climate of India is described as the monsoon type. In Asia, this type of climate is found mainly in the south and the southeast. Despite an overall unity in the general pattern, there are perceptible regional variation in climatic condition within the country. Let us take two important elements, temperature and precipitation, and examine how they vary from place to place and season to season. In summer, the mercury occasionally touches 50 degrees Celsius in some part of the Rajasthan desert, whereas it may be around 20 degrees Celsius in Pahalgam in Jammu and Kashmir. On a winter night, temperature at Dras in Jammu and Kashmir may be as low as minus 45 degrees Celsius. Thiruvananthapuram, on the other hand, may have a temperature of 22 degrees Celsius. Do you know in certain places there is a wide difference between day and night temperatures? In the Thar desert, the day temperature may rise to 50 degrees Celsius and drop down to near 15 degrees Celsius the same night. On the other hand, there is hardly any difference in day and night temperatures in the Andaman and Nicobar Islands or in Kerala. Let us now look at precipitation. There are variations not only in the forms and types of precipitation but also in its amount and the seasonal distribution. While precipitation is mostly in the form of snowfall in the upper parts of Himalayas, it rains over the rest of the country. The annual precipitation varies from over 400 cm in Meghalaya to less than 10 cm in Ladakh and western Rajasthan. Most parts of the country receive rainfall from June to September, but some parts like Tamil Nadu coast gets a large portion of its rain during the October and November. In general, coastal areas experience less contrast and temperature condition. Seasonal contrasts are more in the interior of the country. There is decrease in rainfall generally from east to west in the northern plains. These variations have given rise to variety in lives of people, in terms of food they eat, the clothes they wear, and also the kind of houses they live in. Climatic controls. There are six major controls of the climate of any place. They are latitude, altitude, pressure and wind system, distance from the sea, continentality, ocean currents, and relief pitches. Due to the curvature of the Earth, the amount of solar energy received varies according to latitude. As a result, air temperature generally decreases from the equator towards the pole. As one goes from the surface of the Earth to higher altitudes, the atmosphere becomes less dense and temperature decreases. The hills are therefore cooler during summers. The pressure and wind system of any area depend on the latitude and altitude of the place. Thus, it influences the temperature and rainfall pattern. The sea exerts a moderating influence on climate. As the distance from the sea increases, its moderating influence decreases, and the people experience extreme weather conditions. This condition is known as continentality, that means very hot during summers and very cold during winters. Ocean currents along the onshore winds affect the climate of the coastal areas. For example, any coastal area with warm or cold currents flowing past it will be warm or cold if the winds are onshore. Finally, relief plays a major role in determining the climate of a place. High mountains act as barriers for cold or hot winds. They may also cause precipitation if they are high enough and lie in the path of rain-bearing winds. The leeward side of mountains remain relatively dry. Factors affecting India's climate. Latitude. The Tropic of Cancer passes through the middle of the country from the Run of Kutch in the west to Mizoram in the east. Almost half of the country lying south of the Tropic of Cancer belongs to the tropical area. All the remaining area north of the tropic lies in the subtropics. Therefore, India's climate has characteristics of tropical as well as subtropical climates. Altitude. India has mountains to the north which have an average height of about 6,000 meters. India also has a vast coastal area where maximum elevation is about 30 meters. The Himalayas prevent the cold winds from Central Asia from entering the subcontinent. It is because of these mountains that this subcontinent experiences comparatively milder winters as compared to Central Asia. Pressure and winds. The climate and associated weather conditions in India are governed by the following atmospheric conditions: pressure and surface wind, upper air circulation, and western cyclonic disturbances and tropical cyclones. India lies in the region of northeasterly winds. These winds originate from the subtropical high pressure belt of the northern hemisphere. They blow southwards, get deflected to the right due to the Coriolis force, and move towards the equatorial low pressure area. Generally, these winds carry little moisture as they originate and blow over land. Therefore, they bring little or no rain. Hence, India should have been an arid land, but it is not so. Let us see why. Coriolis force, an apparent force caused by the Earth's rotation. The Coriolis force is responsible for deflecting winds towards the right in the northern hemisphere and towards the left in the southern hemisphere. This is also known as Farrell's law. The pressure and wind conditions over India are unique. During winter, there is a high pressure area north of the Himalayas. Cold, dry winds blow from this region to the low pressure areas over the ocean to the south. In summer, a low pressure area develops over interior Asia as well as over northwestern India. This causes a complete reversal of the direction of winds during summer. Air moves from the high pressure area over the southern Indian Ocean in a southwesterly direction, crosses the equator and turns right towards the low pressure areas over the Indian subcontinent. These are known as the southwest monsoon winds. These winds blow over the warm oceans, gather moisture, and bring widespread rainfall over the mainland of India. The upper air circulation in this region is dominated by a westerly flow. An important component of this flow is the jet stream. These jet streams are located approximately over 27° to 30° north latitude. Therefore, they are known as subtropical westerly jet stream. Over India, this jet stream blows south of the Himalayas all through the year except in summer. The western cyclonic disturbances experienced in the north and northwestern parts of the country are brought in by this westerly flow. In summer, the subtropical westerly jet streams moves north of the Himalayas with the apparent movement of the sun. An easterly jet stream called the subtropical easterly jet stream blows over peninsular India, approximately over 14° north during the summer months. Jet stream. These are narrow belt of high altitude above 12,000 meter westerly winds in the troposphere. The speed varies from about 110 km per hour in summer to about 184 km per hour in winter. A number of separate jet streams have been identified. The most constant are the mid-latitude and the subtropical jet stream. Western cyclonic disturbances. The western cyclonic disturbances are weather phenomena of the winter months brought in by the westerly flow from the Mediterranean region. They usually influence the weather of the north and northwestern regions of India. Tropical cyclones occur during the monsoon as well as in October-November and are part of the easterly flow. These disturbances affect the coastal regions of the country. Have you read or heard about the disasters caused by them on Odisha and Andhra Pradesh coast? The Indian monsoon. The climate of India is strongly influenced by monsoon winds. The sailors who came to India in historic times were one of the first to have noticed the phenomenon of the monsoon. They benefited from the reversal of the wind system as they came by sailing ships at the mercy of the winds. The Arabs, who had also come to India as traders, named this seasonal reversal of the wind system monsoon. The monsoons are experienced in the tropical area roughly between 20° and 20° north and 20° south. To understand the mechanism of the monsoon, the following facts are important. The differential heating and cooling of land and water creates low pressure on the landmass of India while the seas around experience comparatively high pressure. The shift of the position of the intertropical convergence zone in summer over the Ganga plain, this is the equatorial trough normally positioned about 5° north of the equator. It is also known as the monsoon trough during the monsoon season. The presence of the high pressure area east of Madagascar, approximately at 20° south over the Indian Ocean. The intensity and position of this high pressure area affects the Indian monsoon. The Tibetan plateau gets intensely heated during summer, which results in strong vertical air currents and the formation of low pressure over the plateau at about 9 km above sea level. The movement of the westerly jet stream to the north of the Himalayas and the presence of the tropical easterly jet streams over the Indian peninsula during summer. Intertropical convergence zone. The intertropical convergence zone is a broad trough of low pressure in the equatorial latitudes. This is where the northeast and the southeast trade winds converge. This convergence zone lies in more or less parallel to the equator but moves north or south with the apparent movement of the sun. Apart from this, it has also been noticed that changes in the pressure conditions over the southern oceans also affect the monsoons. Normally, when the tropical eastern South Pacific Ocean experiences high pressure, the tropical eastern Indian Ocean experiences low pressure. But in certain years, there is a reversal in the pressure condition, and the eastern Pacific has lower pressure in comparison to the eastern Indian Ocean. This periodic change in pressure condition is known as the Southern Oscillation or SO. The difference in pressure over Tahiti, Pacific Ocean 18° south or 149° west, and Darwin in North Australia, Indian Ocean 120 degree 30 minutes south or 131 degree east is computed to predict the intensity of the monsoon. If the pressure differences were negative, it would mean below average and late monsoons. A feature connected with the SO is the El Nino phenomenon, in which a warm ocean current that flows past the Peruvian coast in place of the cold Peruvian current every 2 to 5 years. The change in the pressure condition are connected to the El Nino. Hence, the phenomenon is referred to as ENSO, El Nino Southern Oscillation. El Nino. This is the name given to the periodic development of a warm ocean current along the coast of Peru as a temporary replacement of the cold Peruvian current. El Nino is a Spanish word meaning the child and refers to the baby Christ as this current starts flowing during Christmas. The presence of the El Nino leads to an increase in sea surface temperature and weakening of the trade winds in the region. The onset of the monsoon and withdrawal. The monsoon, unlike the trades, are not steady winds but are pulsating in nature, affected by different atmospheric conditions encountered by it on its way over the warm tropical seas. The duration of the monsoon is between 100 to 120 days from early June to mid-September. Around the time of its arrival, the normal rainfall increases suddenly and continues constantly for several days. This is known as the burst of the monsoon and can be distinguished from the pre-monsoon showers. The monsoon arrives at the southern tip of the Indian Peninsula generally by the first week of June. Subsequently, it processes into two, the Arabian Sea branch and the Bay of Bengal branch. The Arabian Sea branch reaches Mumbai about 10 days later on approximately the 10th of June. This is a fairly rapid advance. The Bay of Bengal branch also advances rapidly and arrives in Assam in the first week of June. The lofty mountain causes the monsoon winds to deflect towards the west over the Ganga plains. By mid-June, the Arabian Sea branch of the monsoon arrives over Saurashtra, Kutch, and the central part of the country. The Arabian Sea and the Bay of Bengal branches of the monsoon merge over the northwestern part of the Ganga plains. Delhi generally receives the monsoon showers from the Bay of Bengal branch by the end of June. Tentative date is 29th of June. By the first week of July, western Uttar Pradesh, Punjab, Haryana, and eastern Rajasthan experience the monsoon. By mid-July, the monsoon reaches Himachal Pradesh and the rest of the country. Withdrawal or the retreat of the monsoon is a more gradual process. The withdrawal of the monsoon begins in northwestern states of India by early September. By mid-October, it withdraws completely from the northern half of the peninsula. The withdrawal from the southern half of the peninsula is fairly rapid. By early December, the monsoon has withdrawn from the rest of the country. The islands receive the very first monsoon showers progressively from south to north. From the last week of April to the first week of May, the withdrawal takes place progressively from north to south from the first week of December to the first week of January. By this time, the rest of the country is already under the influence of the winter monsoon. The seasons. The monsoon type of climate is characterized by distinct seasonal pattern. The weather conditions greatly change from one season to the other. These changes are particularly noticeable in the interior parts of the country. The coastal areas do not experience much variation in temperature, though there is variation in rainfall pattern. How many seasons are experienced in your place? 4 main seasons can be identified in India: the cold weather season, the hot weather season, the advancing monsoon, and the retreating monsoon with some regional variation. The cold weather season, winter. The cold weather season begins from the mid-November in northern India and stays till February. December and January are the coldest months in the northern part of India. The temperature decreases from south to the north. The average temperature of Chennai on the eastern coast is between 24 degrees to 25 degrees Celsius, while in the northern plains it ranges between 10 degrees Celsius and 15 degrees Celsius. Days are warm and nights are cold. Frost is common in the north, and the higher slopes of the Himalayas experience snowfall. During this season, the northeast trade winds prevail over the country. They blow from land to sea and hence for most part of the country. It is a dry season. Some amount of rainfall occurs on the Tamil Nadu coast from these winds as here they blow over sea to land. In the northern part of the country, a feeble high pressure region develops with light winds moving outwards from this area, influenced by the relief. These winds blow through the Ganga Valley from the west and the northwest. The weather is normally marked by clear sky, low temperatures, and low humidity and feeble variable winds. A characteristic feature of the cold weather season over the northern plains is the inflow of cyclonic disturbances from the west and the northwest. These low pressure systems originate over the Mediterranean Sea and and move Western Asia and move into India along with the westerly flow. They cause the much needed winter rains over the plains and snowfall in the mountains. Although the total amount of winter rainfall locally known as Mahavat is small, they are of immense importance for the cultivation of rabi crops. The peninsular region does not have a well defined cold season. There is hardly any noticeable seasonal change in temperature pattern during winters due to the moderating influence of the sea. The hot weather season, summer. Due to the apparent northward movement of the sun, the global heat belt shifts northwards. As such, from March to May, it is hot weather season. In India, the influence of the shifting of the heat belt can be seen clearly from temperature recordings taken during March to May at different latitudes. In March, the highest temperature is about 38 degrees Celsius recorded on the Deccan Plateau. In April, temperatures in Gujarat and Madhya Pradesh are around 42 degrees Celsius. In May, temperature of 45 degrees Celsius is common in the northwestern parts of the country. In peninsular India, temperatures remain lower due to the moderating influence of the ocean. The summer months experience rising temperature and falling air pressure in the northern part of the country. Towards the end of May, an elongated low pressure area develops in the region extending from the Thar Desert in the northwest to Patna and Chotanagpur Plateau in the east and southeast. Circulation of air begins to set in around this trough. A striking feature of the hot weather season is the loo. These are strong, gusty, hot, dry winds blowing during the day over the north and northwestern India. Sometimes they even continue until late in the evening. Direct exposure to these winds may even prove to be fatal. Storms are very common during the month of the May in northern India. These storms bring temporary relief as they lower the temperature and may bring light rain and cool breeze. This is also the season for localized thunderstorms associated with violent winds, torrential downpours, often accompanied by hail. In West Bengal, these storms are known as Kal Baisakhi. Towards the close of the summer season, pre-monsoon showers are common, especially in Kerala and Karnataka. They help in the early ripening of mangoes and are often referred to as mango showers. Advancing monsoon, the rainy season. By early June, the low pressure condition over the northern plains intensifies. It attracts the trade winds of the southern hemisphere. These southeast trade winds originate over the warm subtropical areas of the southern oceans. They cross the equator and blow in a southwesterly direction, entering the Indian peninsula as the southwest monsoon. As these winds blow over the warm oceans, they bring abundant moisture to the subcontinent. These winds are strong and blow at an average velocity of 30 km per hour. With the exception of the extreme northwest, the monsoon winds cover the country in about a month. The inflow of southwest monsoon into India brings about a total change in the weather. Early in the season, the windward side of the Western Ghats receive very heavy rainfall, more than 250 cm. The Deccan Plateau and parts of Madhya Pradesh also receive some amount of rain in spite of lying in the rain shadow area. The maximum rainfall of this season is received in the northeastern part of the country. Mysore in the southern ranges of the Khasi Hills receives the highest average rainfall in the world. Rainfall in the Ganga Valley decreases from the east to the west. Rajasthan and parts of Gujarat get scanty rainfall. Another phenomenon associated with the monsoon is its tendency to have breaks in rainfall. Thus, it has wet and dry spells. In other words, the monsoon rains take place only for a few days at a time. They are interspersed with rainless intervals. These breaks in monsoon are related to the movement of the monsoon trough. For various reasons, the trough and its axis keep on moving northward or southward, which determines the spatial distribution of rainfall. When the axis of the monsoon trough lies over the plains, rainfall is good in these parts. On the other hand, whenever the axis shifts closer to the Himalayas, there are longer dry spells in the plains, and widespread rain occur in the mountainous catchment areas of the Himalayan rivers. These heavy rains bring in their wake devastating floods, causing damage to life and property in the plains. The frequency and intensity of tropical depressions too determine the amount and duration of monsoon rains. These depressions form at the head of the Bay of Bengal and cross over the mainland. The depressions follow the axis of the monsoon trough of low pressure. The monsoon is known for its uncertainties. The alteration of dry and wet spells vary in intensity, frequency, and duration. While it causes heavy floods in one part, it may be responsible for droughts in the other. It is often irregular in its arrival and its retreat. Hence, it sometimes disturbs the farming schedule of millions of farmers all over the country. Retreating or post monsoon, the transition season. During October to November, with the apparent movement of the sun towards the south, the monsoon trough or the low pressure trough over the northern plains becomes weaker. This is gradually replaced by a high pressure system. The southwest monsoon winds weaken and start withdrawing gradually. By the beginning of October, the monsoon withdraws from the northern plains. The months of October and November form a period of transition from hot rainy season to dry winter conditions. The retreat of the monsoon is marked by clear skies and rise in temperature. While day temperatures are high, nights are cool and pleasant. The land is still moist. Owing to the condition of high temperature and humidity, the weather becomes rather oppressive during the day. This is commonly known as October heat. In the second half of October, the mercury begins to fall rapidly in northern India. Do you know, Mizoram, the wettest place on the earth, is also reputed for its stalagmite and stalactite stalactite caves. The low pressure condition over northwestern India get transferred to the Bay of Bengal by early November. This shift is associated with the occurrence of cyclonic depressions, which originate over the Andaman Sea. These cyclones generally cross the eastern coast of India, cause heavy and widespread rain. The tropical cyclones are often very destructive. The thickly populated deltas of the Godavari, the Krishna, and the Kaveri are frequently struck by cyclones, which cause great damage to life and property. Sometimes these cyclones arrive at the coasts of Odisha, West Bengal, and Bangladesh. The bulk of the rainfall of the Coromandel coast is derived from depressions and cyclones. Distribution of rainfall. Parts of western coast and northeastern India receive over about 400 cm of rainfall annually. However, it is less than 60 cm in western Rajasthan and adjoining parts of Gujarat, Haryana, and Punjab. Rainfall is equally low in the interior of the Deccan Plateau and east of the Sahyadris. Why do these regions receive low rainfall? A third area of low precipitation is around Leh in Jammu and Kashmir. The rest of the country received moderate rainfall. Snowfall is restricted to the Himalayan region. Owing to the nature of monsoon, the annual rainfall is highly variable from year to year. Variability is high in the regions of low rainfall, such as parts of Rajasthan, Gujarat, and the leeward side of the Western Ghats. As such, while areas of high rainfall are liable to be affected by floods, areas of low rainfall are drought prone. Monsoon as an unifying bond. You have already known the way the Himalayas protect the subcontinent from extremely cold winds from Central Asia. This enables northern India to have uniformly higher temperatures compared to other areas on the same latitude. Similarly, the peninsular plateau, under the influence of the sea from three sides, has moderate temperatures. Despite such moderating influences, there are great variation in the temperature conditions. Nevertheless, the unifying influence of the monsoon on the Indian subcontinent is quite perceptible. The seasonal alteration of the wind systems and the associated weather conditions provide a rhythmic cycle of seasons. Even the uncertainties of rain and uneven distribution are very much typical of the monsoons. The Indian landscape, its animal and plant life, its entire agricultural calendar, and the life of the people, including their festivities, revolve around this phenomenon. Year after year, people of India from north to south and from east to west eagerly await the arrival of the monsoon. These monsoon winds bind the whole country by providing water to set the agricultural activities in motion. The river valleys which carry this water also unite as a single river valley unit. तो ये है इस चैप्टर का एक्सरसाइज और इसी के साथ हमारा आज का ये चैप्टर कंप्लीट हो गया है। तो अगर आप चैनल पर नए हैं तो चैनल को सब्सक्राइब कर दीजिए और नोटिफिकेशन आइकन पर क्लिक कर दीजिए ताकि आपको सारे वीडियोस के अपडेट्स मिल सकें। साथ ही अगर आपको वीडियो अच्छा लगे तो लाइक कर दीजिए और अपने दोस्तों के साथ शेयर कीजिए ताकि उन्हें भी हेल्प हो सके। और हमारा आज का वीडियो यहीं तक था। थैंक यू, थैंक्स फॉर वॉचिंग। हेलो एवरीवन, वेलकम बैक टू माय चैनल। तो आज की वीडियो में हम देखने वाले हैं एनसीईआरटी ज्योग्राफी क्लास 9, जिसमें आज हम देखेंगे चैप्टर 5 जो कि है नेचुरल वेजिटेशन एंड वाइल्ड लाइफ। तो शुरू करते हैं हमारा आज का चैप्टर। Have you observed the type of trees, bushes, grasses and birds in the fields and parks in and around your school? Are they similar or there are variations? India being a vast country, you can imagine the type of bioforms available throughout the country. Our country, India, is one of the 12 mega biodiversity countries of the world. With about 47,000 plant species, India occupies 10th place in the world and 4th in Asia in plant diversity. There are about 15,000 flowering plants in India, which account for 6% in the world's total number of flowering plants. The country has many non-flowering plants such as ferns, algae, and fungi. India also has approximately 90,000 species of animals, as well as a rich variety of fish in its fresh and marine waters. Natural vegetation refers to a plant community which has grown naturally without human aid and has been left undisturbed by humans for a long time. This is termed as a virgin vegetation. Thus, cultivated crops and fruits or orchids form part of vegetation but not natural vegetation. Do you know the virgin vegetation, which are purely Indian, are known as endemic or indigenous species, but those which have come from outside India are termed as exotic plants. The term flora is used to denote plants of a particular region or period. Similarly, the species of animals are referred to as fauna. This huge diversity in flora and fauna kingdom is due to the following factors. Relief, land. Land affects the natural vegetation directly and indirectly. Do you expect the same type of vegetation in mountainous, plateau and plain areas or in dry and wet regions? The nature of land influences the type of vegetation. The fertile level is generally devoted to agriculture. The undulating and rough terrains are areas where grassland and woodlands develop and give shelter to a variety of wildlife. Soil. The soils also vary over space. Different types of soils provide basis for different types of vegetation. The sandy soils of the desert support cactus and thorny bushes, while wet, marshy, deltic soils support mangroves and deltic vegetation. The hill slopes with some depth of soil have conical trees. Climate, temperature. The character and extent of vegetation are mainly determined by temperature along with humidity in the air, precipitation and soil. On the slopes of the Himalayas and the hills of the peninsula above the height of 915 meters, the fall in the temperature affects the types of vegetation and its growth and changes it from tropical to subtropical temperate and alpine vegetation. Photoperiod, sunlight. The variation in duration of sunlight at different places is due to differences in latitude, altitude, season, and duration of the day. Due to longer duration of sunlight, trees grow faster in summer. Precipitation. In India, almost the entire rainfall is brought in by the advancing southwest monsoon, June to September, and retreating northeast monsoons. Areas of heavy rainfall have more dense vegetation as compared to areas of less rainfall. Have you ever thought as to why forests are important for human beings? Forests are renewable resources and play a major role in enhancing the quality of environment. They modify local climate, control soil erosion, regulate stream flow, support a variety of industries, provide livelihood for many communities, and offer panoramic or scenic view for recreation. They control wind force and temperature and cause rains. They provide humus to the soil and shelter to the wildlife. India's natural vegetation has undergone many changes due to several factors, such as the growing demand for cultivated land, development of industries and mining, urbanization, and overgrazing of pastures. The vegetation cover of India in large parts is no more natural in the real sense, except in some inaccessible regions like the Himalayas, the hilly region of central India, and the Marustali. The vegetation in most of the areas has been modified at some places or replaced or degraded by human occupancy. Do you know? According to India State of Forest Report 2011, the forest cover in India is 21.05%. Types of vegetation. The following major types of vegetation may be identified in our country: tropical evergreen forest, tropical deciduous forest, tropical thorn forest and scrubs, montane forest, mangrove forest. Tropical evergreen forest. These forests are restricted to heavy rainfall areas of the Western Ghats and the island groups of Lakshadweep, Andaman and Nicobar, upper parts of Assam and Tamil Nadu coast. They are at their best in areas having more than 200 cm of rainfall with a short dry season. The trees reach great heights up to 60 meters or even above. Since the region is warm and wet throughout the year, it has a luxuriant vegetation of all kinds, trees, shrubs, and creepers, giving it a multi-layered structure. There is no definite time for trees to shed their leaves. As such, these forests appear green all the year round. Some of the commercially important trees of this forest are ebony, mahogany, rosewood, rubber, and cinchona. The common animals found in this forest are elephant, monkey, lemur, and deer. One-horned rhinoceros are found in jungles of Assam and West Bengal. Besides these animals, plenty of birds, bats, sloths, scorpions, and snails are also found in these jungles. Tropical deciduous forest. These are the most widespread forests of India. They are also called the monsoon forest and spread over the region, receiving rainfall between 200 cm and 70 cm. Trees of this forest type shed their leaves for about 6 to 8 weeks in dry summer. On the basis of the availability of water, these forests are further divided into moist and dry deciduous. The former is found in areas receiving rainfall between 200 and 100 cm. These forests exist therefore mostly in the eastern part of the country, northeastern states, along the foothills of the Himalayas, Jharkhand, West Odisha, and Chhattisgarh. and on the eastern slopes of the western Ghats. Teak is the most dominant species of this forest. Bamboos, sal, sisam, sandalwood, kher, kusum, arjun, and mulberry are other commercially important species. The dry deciduous forests are found in areas having rainfall between 100 cm and 70 cm. These forests are found in the rainier parts of the peninsular plateau and the plains of Bihar and Uttar Pradesh. There are open stretches in which teak, sal, peepal, and neem grow. A large part of this region has been cleared for cultivation and some parts are used for grazing. In this forest, the common animals found are lion, tiger, pig, deer, and elephant. A huge variety of birds, lizards, snakes, and tortoises are also found here. The thorn forest and scrubs. In regions with less than 70 cm of rainfall, the natural vegetation consists of thorny trees and bushes. This type of vegetation is found in the northwestern part of the country, including semi-arid areas of Gujarat, Rajasthan, Madhya Pradesh, Chhattisgarh, Uttar Pradesh, and Haryana. Acacias, palms, euphorbias, and cactus are the main plant species. Trees are scattered and have long roots penetrating deep into the soil in order to get moisture. The stems are succulent to conserve water. Leaves are mostly thick and small to minimize evaporation. These forests give way to thorn forest and scrubs in arid areas. In this forest, the common animals are rats, mice, rabbits, fox, wolf, tiger, lion, wild ass, horses, and camels. Mountain forest. In mountainous areas, the decrease in temperature with increased altitude leads to the corresponding change in natural vegetation. As such, there is a succession of natural vegetation belts in the same order as we see from the tropical to the tundra region. The wet temperate type of forests are found between a height of 1000 and 2000 meters. Evergreen broadleaf trees such as oaks and chestnuts predominate. Between 1500 and 3000 meters, temperate forests containing coniferous trees like pine, deodar, silverfir, spruce, and cedar are found. These forests cover mostly the southern slopes of the Himalayas, places having high altitude in southern and northeast India. At higher elevation, temperate grasslands are common. At high altitudes, generally more than 3600 meters above the sea level, temperate forests and grasslands give way to the alpine vegetation. Silver firs, junipers, pines, and beeches are the common trees of these forests. However, they get progressively stunted as they approach the snow line. Ultimately, through shrubs and scrubs, they merge into the alpine grassland. These are used extensively for grazing by nomadic tribes like the Gujars and the Bakarwals. At higher altitudes, mosses and lichens form part of tundra vegetation. The common animals found in this forest are Kashmir stag, spotted deer, wild sheep, jack, rabbit, Tibetan antelope, yak, snow leopard, squirrels, saggy horn wild ibex, bear, and red panda, sheep and goats with thick hair. Mangrove forest. The mangrove tidal forests are found in the areas of coast influenced by tides. Mud and silt get accumulated on such coast. Dense mangroves are the common varieties with roots of the plants submerged underwater. The deltas of the Ganga, the Mahanadi, the Krishna, the Godavari, and the Kaveri are covered by such vegetation. In the Ganga Brahmaputra delta, Sundari trees are found, which provide durable hard timber. Palm, coconut, kiora, agar, etc. also grow in some parts of the delta. Royal Bengal tiger is the famous animal in this forest. Turtles, crocodiles, gharials, and snakes are also found in this forest. Medicinal plants. India is known for its herbs and spices from ancient times. Some 2000 plants have been described in Ayurveda and at least 500 are in regular use. The World Conservation Union's Red List has named 352 medicinal plants, of which 52 are critically threatened and 49 endangered. The commonly used plants in India are Sarpagandha, used to treat blood pressure. It is found only in India. Jamun, the juice from ripe fruit, is used to prepare vinegar, which is carminative and diuretic and has digestive properties. The powder of the seeds is used for controlling diabetes. Arjun, the fresh juice of leaves, is a cure for earache. It is also used to regulate blood pressure. Bubble leaves are used as a cure for eye sores. Its gum is used as a tonic. Neem has high antibiotic and antibacterial properties. Tulsi is used to cure cough and cold. Kachnar is used to cure asthma and ulcers. The buds and roots are good for digestive problems. Wildlife. Like its flora, India is also rich in its fauna. It has approximately 90,000 animal species. The country has about 2,000 species of birds. They constitute 13% of the world's total. There are 2,546 species of fish, which account for nearly 12% of the world's stock. It also shares between 5 and 8% of the world's amphibians, reptiles, and mammals. The elephants are the most majestic animals among the mammals. They are found in the hot west forest of Assam, Karnataka, and Kerala. One-horned rhinoceros are the other animals which live in swampy and marshy lands of Assam and West Bengal. Arid areas of the Run of Kutch and the Thar Desert are the habitat for wild ass and camels, respectively. Indian bison, nilgai, blue bull, chosingha, four-horned antelope, gazelle, and different species of deer are some other animals found in India. It also has several species of monkeys. Do you know Wildlife Protection Act was implemented in 1972 in India? India is the only country in the world that has both tigers and lions. The natural habitat of the Indian lion is the Gir forest in Gujarat. Tigers are found in the forests of Madhya Pradesh, the Sundarbans of West Bengal, and the Himalayan region. Leopards too are member of the cat family. They are important among animals of prey. Do you know the Gir forest is the last remaining habitat of the Asiatic lion? The Himalayas harbor a hardy range of animals which survive in extreme cold. Ladakh's freezing high altitudes are a home to yak, the shaggy horned wild ox weighing around 1 ton, the Tibetan antelope, the Bharal blue sheep, wild sheep, and the Kyang Tibetan wild ass. Furthermore, the ibex, bear, snow leopard, and rare red panda are found in certain pockets. In the rivers, lakes, and coastal areas, turtles, crocodiles, and gharials are found. The latter is only representative of a variety of crocodile found in the world today. Bird life in India is colorful. Peacocks, pigeons, ducks, parakeets, cranes, and pigeons are some of the birds inhabiting the forests and wetlands of the country. We have selected our crops from a biodiverse environment, that means from the reserve of edible plants. We also experimented and selected many medicinal plants. The animals were selected from large stock provided by nature as milch animal. They also provided us drought power, transportation, meat, and eggs. The fish provide nutritive food. Many insects help in pollination of crops and fruit trees, and exerting biological control on such insects is harmful. Every species has a role to play in ecosystem, hence conservation is essential. As has been mentioned earlier, due to excessive exploitation of plant and animal resources by human beings, the ecosystem has been disturbed. About 1,300 plant species are endangered and 20 species are extinct. Quite a few animal species are also endangered and some have become extinct. The main cause for this major threat to nature are hunting by greedy hunters for commercial purposes. pollution due to chemical and industrial waste, acid deposits, introduction of alien species, and reckless cutting of the forest to bring land under cultivation and habitation are also responsible for the imbalance. The protect to protect the flora and fauna of the country, the government has taken many steps. 18 biosphere reserves have been set up in the country to protect flora and fauna. 10 out of these, the Sundarbans, Nanda Devi, the Gulf of Mannar, the Nilgiri, Nokrek, Great Nicobar, Manas, Simlipal, Pachmarhi, and Achanmar, Amarkantak have been included in the World Network of Biosphere Reserves. Migratory birds. Some of the wetlands of India are popular with migratory birds. During winter, birds such as Siberian crane come in large numbers. One such place favorable with birds is the run of Kutch, at a place where the desert merges with the sea. Flamingo with their brilliant pink plumage come in thousands to build nest mounds from the salty mud and raise their young ones. It is the one among many extraordinary sights in the country. Is it not a rich natural heritage of ours? 18 bioreserves: Sundarbans, Gulf of Mannar, Nilgiri, Nanda Devi, Nokrek, Great Nicobar, Manas, Simlipal, Dihang Dibang, Dibru Saikhowa, Agastya Malai, Kanchenjunga, Pachmarai, Achankmar, Amarkantak. Financial and technical assistance is provided to many botanical gardens by the government since 1992. Kutch, Cold Desert, Sesachalam, Panna. Project Tiger, Project Rhino, Project Great Indian Bustard, and many other eco-developmental projects have been introduced. 103 national parks, 535 wildlife sanctuaries, and zoological gardens are set up to take care of natural heritage. All of us must realize the importance of the natural ecosystem for our own survival. It is possible if indiscriminate destruction of natural environment is put to an immediate end. तो ये है इस चैप्टर का एक्सरसाइज और इसी के साथ हमारा आज का चैप्टर कंप्लीट होता है। तो अगर आप चैनल पर नए हैं तो चैनल को सब्सक्राइब कर दीजिए और नोटिफिकेशन आइकन पर क्लिक कर दीजिए ताकि आपको सारे वीडियोस के अपडेट्स मिल सकें। और अगर आपको वीडियो अच्छा लगे तो लाइक कर दीजिए और अपने दोस्तों के साथ शेयर कीजिए ताकि उन्हें भी हेल्प हो सके। तो हमारा ये वीडियो यहीं तक था। थैंक यू, थैंक्स फॉर वॉचिंग। हेलो एवरीवन, वेलकम बैक टू माय चैनल। तो आज के वीडियो में हम देखने वाले हैं एनसीईआरटी क्लास 9 ज्योग्राफी, जिसमें आज हम देखेंगे चैप्टर 6 जो कि है पॉपुलेशन। तो शुरू करते हैं हमारा आज का चैप्टर। कैन यू इमेजिन ए वर्ल्ड विदाउट ह्यूमन बींग्स हु वुड हैव यूटिलाइज्ड द रिसोर्सेज एंड क्रिएटेड सोशल एंड कल्चरल एनवायरनमेंट? द पीपल आर इम्पोर्टेंट टू डेवलप द इकोनॉमी एंड द सोसाइटी. The people make use resources and are themselves resources with varying quality. Coal is but a piece of rock until people were able to invent technology to obtain it and make it resource. Natural events like a flood or a tsunami becomes a disaster only when they affect a crowding village or a town. Hence, population is the pivotal element in social studies. It is the point of reference from which all other elements are observed and from which they derive significance and meaning. Resources, calamities, and disaster are all meaningful only in relation to human beings. Their numbers, distribution, growth, and characteristic or qualities provide the basic background for understanding and appreciating all aspects of the environment. Human beings are producers and consumers of Earth's resources. Therefore, it is important to know how many people are there in a country, where do they live, how and why their numbers are increasing, and what are their characteristics. The Census of India provides us with information regarding the population of our country. Census. A census is an official enumeration of population done periodically. In India, the first census was held in the year 1872. The first complete census, however, was taken in the year 1881. Since then, censuses have been held regularly every 10th year. The Indian census is the most comprehensive source of demographic, social, and economic data. Have you ever seen a census report? Check in a library if it has one. We are primarily concerned with three major questions about population: population size and distribution. How many people are there and where are they located? Population growth and processes of population change. How has the population grown and changed through time? Characteristics or qualities of the population. What are their age, sex, composition, literacy levels, occupational structure, and health conditions? Population size and distribution. India's population size and distribution by numbers. India's population as on March 2011 stood at 1,210.6 million, which account for 17.5% of the world's population. These 1.21 billion people are unevenly distributed over our country's vast area of 3.28 million square kilometers, which accounts for 2.4% of the world's area. The 2011 census data revealed that Uttar Pradesh, with a population size of 199 million, is the most populous state of India. Uttar Pradesh Uttar Pradesh accounts for about 16% of the country's population. On the other hand, the Himalayan state of Sikkim has a population of just 0.6 million, and Lakshadweep has only 64,429 people. Almost half of India's population lives in just 5 states. These are Uttar Pradesh, Maharashtra, Bihar, West Bengal, and Andhra Pradesh. Rajasthan, the biggest state in terms of area, has only 5.5% of the total population in India. India's population distribution by density. Population density provides a better picture of the uneven distribution. Population density is calculated as the number of persons per unit area. India is one of the most densely populated countries of the world. Do you know only Bangladesh and Japan have higher average population densities than India? Find out the population density of Bangladesh and Japan. The population density of India in the year 2011 was 382 persons per square kilometer. Densities vary from 1,102 persons per square kilometer in Bihar to only 17 persons per square kilometer in Arunachal Pradesh. A study of the figure 6.3 shows the pattern of uneven distribution of population densities at the state level. Note, the states with population density below 250 persons per square kilometer, rugged terrain, and unfavorable climatic conditions are primarily responsible for sparse population. In these areas, which states have density below 250 persons per square kilometer? Assam and most of the peninsular states have moderate population densities. Hilly, dissected, and rocky nature of the terrain, moderate to low rainfall, shallow and less fertile soils have influenced population density in these areas. The northern plains and Kerala in the south have high to very high population densities because of the flat plains with fertile soils and abundant rainfall. Identify the three states of the northern plains with high population density. Population growth and processes of population change. Population is a dynamic phenomenon. The numbers, distribution, and composition of the population are constantly changing. This is the influence of the interaction of the three processes, namely births, deaths, and migrations. Population growth. Growth of population refers to the change in the number of inhabitants of a country or territory during a specific period of time, say during the last 10 years. Such a change can be expressed in two ways: in terms of absolute number and in terms of percentage change per year. The absolute numbers added each year or decade is the magnitude of increase. It is obtained by simply subtracting the earlier population, example that of 2001, from the later population, example that of 2011. It is referred to as the absolute increase. The rate of the pace of population increase is the other important aspect. It is studied in percent per annum. Example, a rate of increase of 2% per annum means that in a given year there was an increase of 2 persons for every 100 persons in the base population. This is referred to as the annual growth rate. India's population has been steadily increasing from 361 million in 1951 to 1210 million in 2011. Table 6.1 and figures 6.4a and 6.4b reveal that from 1951 to 1981, the annual rate of population growth was steadily increasing, which explains the rapid increase in population from 361 million in 1951 to 683 million in 1981. Since 1981, however, the rate of growth started declining gradually. During this period, birth rates declined rapidly. Still, 182 million people were added to the total population in the 1990s alone, an annual addition larger than ever before. It is essential to realize that India has a very large population. When a low annual rate is applied to a very large population, it yields a large absolute increase. When more than a billion people increase even at a lower rate, the total number being added becomes very large. India's annual increase in population is large enough to neutralize efforts to conserve the resource, endowment, and environment. The declining trend of the growth rate is indeed a positive indicator of the efforts of birth control. Despite that, the total additions to the population base continue to grow, and India may overtake China in 2045 to become the most populous country in the world. Processes of population change or growth. There are three main processes of change of population: birth rates, death rates, and migration. The natural increase of population is the difference between birth rates and death rates. Birth rate is the number of live births per 1,000 persons in a year. It is a major component of growth because in India, birth rates have always been higher than death rates. Death rate is the number of deaths per 1,000 persons in a year. The main cause of the rate of growth of the Indian population has been the rapid decline in death rates. Till 1980, high birth rates and declining death rates led to a large difference between birth rates and death rates, resulting in higher rates of population growth. Since 1981, birth rates have also started declining gradually, resulting in a gradual decline in the rate of population growth. What are the reasons for this trend? The third component of population growth is migration. Migration is the movement of people across regions and territories. Migration can be internal within the country or international between the countries. Internal migration does not change the size of the population but influences the distribution of population within the nation. Migration plays a very significant role in changing the composition and distribution of population. In India, most migration have been from rural to urban areas because of the post factor in rural areas. These are adverse conditions of poverty and unemployment in the rural areas and the pull of the city in terms of increased employment opportunities and better living conditions. Migration is an important determinant of population change. It changes not only the population size but also the population composition of urban and rural population in terms of age and sex composition. In India, the rural-urban migration has resulted in a steady increase in the percentage of population in cities and towns. The urban population has increased from 17.29% of the total population in 1951 to 31.80% in 2011. There has been a significant increase in the number of million plus cities from 35 to 53 in just one decade, that means 2001 to 2011. Age composition. The age composition of a population refers to the number of people in different age groups in a country. It is one of the most basic characteristics of a population. To an important degree, a person's age influences what he or she needs, buys, does, and his or her capacity to perform. Consequently, the number and percentage of a population found within the children, working age, and age groups are notable determinants of the population's social and economic structure. The population of a nation is generally grouped into three broad categories. Children, generally below 15 years. They are economically unproductive and need to be provided with food, clothing, education, and medical care. Working age 15 to 59 years. They are economically productive and biologically reproductive. They comprise the working population. Aged above 59 years. They can be economically productive though they may have retired. They may be working voluntarily but they are not available for employment through recruitment. The percentage of children and the aged affect the dependency ratio because these groups are not producers. The proportion of the three groups in India's population is already presented in figure 6.5. Sex ratio. Sex ratio is defined as the number of females per 1000 males in the population. This information is an important social indicator to measure the extent of equality between males and females in a society at a given time. The sex ratio in the country has always remained unfavorable to females. Find out why this is so. Table 6.2 shows the sex ratio from 1951 to 2011. Do you know Kerala has a sex ratio of 1084 females per 1000 males. Puducherry has 1038 females for every 1000 males, while Delhi has only 866 females per 1000 males and Haryana has just 877. Literacy rates. Literacy is a very important quality of a population. Obviously, only an informed and educated citizen can make intelligent choices and undertake research and development projects. Low level of literacy are a serious obstacle for economic development. According to the census 2011, a person aged 7 years and above who can read and write with understanding in any language is treated as literate. There has been a steady improvement in the literacy levels in India. The literacy rate in the country as per the census of 2011 is 73%, 80.9% for males and 64.6% for females. Why do such differences exist? Occupational structure. The percentage of population that is economically active is an important index of development. The distribution of the population according to different types of occupation is referred to as the occupational structure. An enormous variety of occupations are found in any country. Occupations are generally classified as primary, secondary, and tertiary. Primary activities include agriculture, animal husbandry, forestry, fishing, mining, and quarrying, etc. Secondary activities include manufacturing industry, building and construction work, etc. Tertiary activities include transport, communications, commerce, administration, and other services. The proportion of people working in different activities varies in developed and developing countries. Developed nations have a high proportion of people in secondary and tertiary activities. Developing countries tend to have a high proportion of their workforce engaged in primary activities. In India, about 64% of the population is engaged only in agriculture. The proportion of population dependent on secondary and tertiary sector is about 13 and 20% respectively. There has been an occupational shift in favor of secondary and tertiary sectors because of growing industrialization and urbanization in recent times. Health. Health is an important component of population composition, which affects the process of development. Sustained efforts of government programs have registered significant improvements in the health condition of the Indian population. Death rates have declined from 25 per 1000 population in 1951 to 7.2 per 1000 in 2011, and life expectancy at birth has increased from 36.7 years in 1951 to 67.9 years in 2012. The substantial improvement is the result of many factors, including improvement in public health, prevention of infectious diseases, and application of modern medical practices in diagnosis and treatment of ailments. Despite considerable achievements, the health situation is a matter of major concern for India. The per capita calorie consumption is much below the recommended levels, and malnutrition afflicts a large percentage of our population. Safe drinking water and basic sanitation amenities are available to only one-third of the rural population. These problems need to be tackled through an appropriate population policy. Adolescent population. The most significant feature of the Indian population is the size of its adolescent population. It constitutes one-fifth of the total population of India. Adolescents are generally grouped in the age group of 10 to 19 years. They are the most important resource for the future. Nutrition requirements of adolescents are higher than those of a normal child or adult. Poor nutrition can lead to deficiency and stunted growth. But in India, the diet available to adolescents is inadequate in all nutrients. A large number of adolescent girls suffer from anemia. Their problems have so far not received adequate attention in the process of development. The adolescent girls have to be sensitized to the problems they confront. Awareness among them can be improved through the spread of literacy and education. National Population Policy. Recognizing that the planning of families would improve individual health and welfare, the Government of India initiated a comprehensive family planning program in 1952. The Family Welfare Program has sought to promote responsible and planned parenthood on a voluntary basis. The National Population Policy (NDP 2000) is a culmination of years of planned efforts. The NPP 2000 provides a policy framework for imparting free and compulsory school education up to 14 years of age, reducing infant mortality rate to below 30 per 1000 live births, achieving universal immunization of children against all vaccine preventable diseases, promoting delayed marriage for girls, and making family welfare a people-centered program. NPP 2000 and adolescents. NPP 2000 identified adolescents as one of the major sections of the population that need greater attention. Besides nutritional requirements, the policy puts greater emphasis on other important needs of adolescents, including protection from unwanted pregnancies and sexually transmitted diseases. It called for programs that aim towards encouraging delayed marriage and childbearing, education of adolescents about the risk of unprotected sex, making contraceptive services accessible and affordable, providing food supplements, nutritional services, and strengthening legal measures to prevent child marriage. People are the nation's most valuable resource. A well-educated, healthy population provides potential power. तो ये है इस चैप्टर का एक्सरसाइज और इसी के साथ हमारा ये चैप्टर कंप्लीट होता है। तो ये हमारा इस बुक का लास्ट चैप्टर था। तो इसी के साथ हमारा क्लास 9 ज्योग्राफी बुक कंप्लीट हो चुका है। तो अगर आप चैनल पर नए हैं तो चैनल को सब्सक्राइब कर दीजिए और नोटिफिकेशन आइकन पर क्लिक कर दीजिए ताकि आपको सारे वीडियोस के अपडेट्स मिल सके। और अगर आपको वीडियो अच्छा लगे तो लाइक कर दीजिए और अपने दोस्तों के साथ शेयर कीजिए ताकि उन्हें भी हेल्प हो सके। सो हमारा आज का सेशन यहीं तक था। थैंक यू, थैंक्स फॉर वॉचिंग।